I'm that girl that used to worry about future events and be afraid of them and limit myself and panic and overthink everything and plan 1,000 different worrying situations and scenarios for things that never actually happened because I was coming from a fear-based mindset, especially when you have children and you think about all of the dangers of the world and you want to start planning yourself and your children around every single possibility. I became quite over worried and really focused on all of the things that they could be getting up to, and I was panicking. It was very, very, very challenging for me to overcome that because I think when I became a mother, I became incredibly responsible for the problems of the world, and I wanted to save and protect my child and then my children from these events, these situations. Remembering back then, I didn't quite know the purpose and significance and the importance of what life contracts are, and that we design our life contracts, and we have profound guides that are constantly watching us and supporting us and protecting us. And so when I was oblivious to all of that, I would spend most of my current mindset and time worrying about all the different scenarios that could be happening to impact my children, which would then impact me. So, as Dolores Cannon says, and as we hear many times in the sessions that we have shared, fear is not our friends. Let's divorce fear today. Let's go, sorry, but no thank you. We've done you for a long time, and you take me away from enjoying today. My children aren't in danger today. My children are wanting me to be present and not be worried about things that are never, ever, ever going to happen. My children aren't going to jump out of the plane, not on my watch. And also, I need to address that because what that actually is my fear of heights. My fear of falling down on the earth and, the parachute not opening up. So is that another lifetime that I did die that way? I mean, I could explore it. I've explored many different lifetimes to be able to see what is going on, what is my triggers for today, and how is this impacting me from other lifetimes, because they're all very, very linked and relevant, even though we forget, and even though the older version of myself, when I was really sleepy and I didn't know about the metaphysical perspective of things, life was really tough, and I didn't realize how tough I was making it because of my choices to buy into fear, thinking that I would find peace and joy and balance and harmony if I prepared for everything that could ever happen to my children and to me and be able to make plans. And it just seemed like all of the TV that we were watching was about zombies and really challenging programs that always made me get triggered into what if this isn't just a TV program? What if this is a subliminal message from something? And so I'm so pleased that I have now recognized my old behaviors of being able to go into fear, and I'm not worried about my children and myself because I have faith and trust that my teams know my exit points, my teams know my life contracts and purposes, and they will support me and provide me with as much guidance as I can, as they can, as I can. Of course, if I was a complete naughty toe rag and I was like, no, I'm not going to do anything of my service and purpose, I'm going to be completely off contract, my teams will look at me and be like, we've given her 100 trillion signs and messages, she's refusing to step up, she's refusing to be of service, she may have an earlier exit point or a walk-in or something else. Let's look at this. What could it be? Definitely an exit point, definitely a walk-in, walk-out situation where souls exchange bodies. Sounds like zombie swapping, but it's not, I promise, but it's been explored many times. So if you're new to this information and you've suddenly panicked thinking about a soul swap, it is your higher counterparts. So it is not really strange, as it's all agreed upon by our teams, and it is the most appropriate for all. Sometimes souls are just exhausted and they just can't see anything to have faith on, can't have any trust. They're feeling very dense and overwhelmed, and they ask. Usually they contemplate something like a suicide, or just they're so absolutely done. And I've had many clients confide in me and saying, sometimes in my really darkest, challenging days where I bought into all of the fear into the future and I was so panicky, that I just thought the best way forward for myself and my family was an exit point on my own hand. And so they tried. I've had many clients say that they have tried to have exit points. They've tried to commit suicide one way or another. And it's almost as if there was a miracle that took place, because the car was completely destroyed, but yet they walked out of their accident completely intact. And I've had many situations where rope has broken, how the tablets that should have killed them didn't. And so those are the questions. When we conduct an interview and a session, they talk for hours on end about their life experiences, and when they realize that they can trust me and I'm not judging them, I fully can hear them and respect them and understand where they're coming from, not just from my own personal experiences, but because I've had hundreds of other conversations with many other people around the world about the same challenges that they've had, and unfortunately it's all consistent. We all have bought into fear so much at some point that it is very overwhelming, and we have a lack of love, lack of hope, lack of faith. And so we get into those very challenging times, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's very honest for everyone to be, completely honest about our responses to our emotions in certain situations and environments that really get us challenged. And not always can we find our way out of it. And sometimes this is a great reason why our teams are guiding us to have these sessions, to be able to ask, what on earth is going on with me? Why am I in this sticking point? And so I've heard many times the subconscious is saying, yes, we know that they wanted an exit point, and we helped them, and we didn't let them have that exit point in that car, in that hanging, with those drugs, whatever. It's very significant. Sometimes those attempted suicides are the walk-in exchange. It's marvelous what we learn. And remember, when we get scared about listening to these sort of things, it's because we still don't understand and have the full concept of reincarnation, soul contracts. Our lives right now, as much as we love them, as much as we find them challenging sometimes, they're here and we're here because of the lessons we want to experience. And it can be so bizarre for so many people to hear, I chose this? Are you kidding me? What was I thinking? And the thing is that we chose these lives because we knew and trusted our guides. We chose them. We know that they're professional. We know that they love us more than we can even love ourselves in this density. We know that we're in very capable hands. I can feel their love coming to you. I can feel their love coming through me, and they're wanting to yell love. They're wanting to say, you have never been truly alone. And even though sometimes we have felt in the complete darkness and isolation, separation, it's not possible for us to be separated from our teams. It's just not. And that is just an illusion that we play on our minds. That's a fear that we create and re-loop in our minds. We're alone, no one understands us, we're completely alone. That is not true. Of course, it's very real when we're in those mindsets and in those experiences, but we must be able to remind ourselves of that. And so I would like us to be able to just think of a few times when we have felt those things, when we have felt really alone and really isolated, and in our hardest emotional times, whether we were having a meltdown or we were really buying into a lot of fear. Think about that time and just send ourselves a little hug. Tell ourselves in that time, actually, it's going to be okay. Actually, it is going to be okay. You will get through it. Think of those big heartbreaks Think of those, if you've had a failed exam or something that didn't go right, that you're still so hurt about or so upset about, go back and think about that. You're not going to get upset about it. That's not your role today. Your role today is to go back and love yourself in that time, because we can love ourselves. Time is not as we perceive. Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday isn't like that in the metaphysical world at all. And we can just simply go back to that child, to that person who had that experience in the past, because it's us, and be able to just love it and just hug it and just send it encouragement. You will get through this. You've got through many and you will keep going through this. It is all okay. And that is part of empowering self. We can do so many amazing things when you actually know that you can do these things. Go and love yourself when you were little. Go and love your parents when they didn't know what to do as parents. Remembering it's very hard to be a parent, and we get so worried about future fears that we can't parent today properly as we would hope and imagine, because we're trying to be diligent in the future warriors to try and predict all of the outcomes. And the reality is that takes us away from today. And so is that possible? Could your parents have been doing that as well? They're so focused on the most significant things that they have not been able to be present. It may not be the case for everyone listening, but think about all the other times that we have taken ourselves off from the day and the moment to be worried about future events. And so all we can do is be aware and responsible of today and what our actions are today, and trusting that when we buy into future fears and worries, it lowers our vibrations. Yes, you can have some stockpiles of food if that makes you feel comfortable. Yes, you can do things to be able to help the future you, and if that gives you inner peace, that's fantastic. Do those physical things, but do not, as a recommendation, no peer pressure, do not buy into that worry and fear. It doesn't serve us. It really doesn't. You can be aware of everything and not be afraid. You can be aware of everything and not go into fear. We don't like change. Often people don't like change because it's scary, and often we would like to know every single detail of what's going to happen after the change before we commit to it. And that is fine, that's normal. But sometimes there is going to be things that happen that we are not in control of. Are we going to be okay with that? Are we going to have an experience where we can overcome the changes and be stronger for it? Are you already in fear of what's to come? How are you thinking and feeling? And this is another thing I want to say quickly before I go. I noticed that I made a comment about me wearing blue tops. And, please don't judge me for my love of navy blue in my garments. And the reality is, do I really care what other people think of me? Is that a fear, or is that a worry? I shouldn't be concerning myself of what other people want to judge. We all know that judging others is a sign of us needing to do more inner work. If we judge ourselves, it's a sign for us to do more inner work. And we have to respect and just, what is the right word? We have to just accept how other people are. And while others are in fear, that is fine, that is their choice. But when our teams are asking us to not go into fear, and when I'm saying to you and asking you, try to see if you're catching yourself being in fear, it is not because I'm trying to judge you because you're in fear. It is more simply, I'm trying to help you be able to just catch yourself if you are. Because ultimately, we're all wanting to support each other and be as high frequency vibration as possible, because that's where the true, honest joy is. That's incredible. Everyone wants to feel that inner peace. So sometimes we don't identify the fear that we're carrying. And was I in fear that people would be thinking, who is she in her navy blue Constance tops? I mean, who cares? I should be more focused on if people are able to resonate with this information, if people are able to be open to checking out and being honest with their own belief systems and their mindsets, and are they looping themselves? Where is their fear? Where is their worries? Where is their concerns? And is this distracting them from growing and addressing maybe the old past? Because sometimes we're so forward thinking that we don't actually think and address and deal with the past that is still impacting us. Did someone judge me for my clothes at one point? Probably. So is this where I'm looping? Am I thinking of future events and worries and concerns because of something that's happened in my past? So that's my inner work, and I'm happy to be responsible to look at it. But I want myself to catch myself if I'm doing something that may be negative talk about myself, or negative talk or assumptions. I should be assuming that everyone listening to these sessions want to be mature and responsible for their spirituality and growth, because they're sick of hearing nonsense and they're wanting to understand what the heck is going on and why. So, happy days, everyone. I love you. Are you loving yourself as much as you can? Please, 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 please drink as much water as you can, because the frequency of the water is incredibly infused with really high frequency vibrations right now. It has been for quite some time. And so trust, whatever type of water it is, it's going to be very healing for you. So acknowledge that. When you grab that glass of water or that jug of water, thank it. Thank it for being able to nourish your body. Thank it for being able to upgrade your bodies and give you high frequency vibrations, because it's there to be of service. And what do we do to things that are of service to us? Do we ignore it, take it for granted, be afraid of it? No, we acknowledge it and thank it. And so therefore, please, can you just acknowledge all the water that's around you? Even if it's in a swimming pool, you're not going to drink it, but acknowledge it's still of service. The water collective, shall we say, is very profound at the moment, and it is of great service to humanity. And so when we know these things that are helping us, and we consume all the good things that are helping us, this will of course help us grow and expand. And so we're using our free will to acknowledge and be able to ask for so much things to be able to help us grow. It's an incredibly fast time to grow. We all want to grow in really great ways, and we want to grow in our spiritual maturity, because this is the most empowering way and the fastest way for us to raise our vibrations. Only we can do this for ourselves. And so I really hope that you go and replenish yourselves with lots of water, blessing it, thanking it, loving it, being so grateful for it, because it is truly a gift. We have so many gifts around us, and sometimes we just take them for granted. I love you, love yourselves, love your friends. Go and have a fantastic day.